We are live. So guys, we were just talking a minute ago about all these webinars and seminars, trend sharing, and I think in the beginning of 2020 or first quarter, right? There's all these webinars that's happening, all these things that are going on, talking about market trends. You know, everybody's desperate to hear what's happening, right? Everybody's trying to find opinions, what's going to tech market's going to be. So yeah, so in this today, we've invited Pâris Hérard, Kevin Ng from Argyll Scott, myself here at Accelerate, Thomas Ho. I'm the senior advisor for careers consultations here. And today, we're going to be sharing how to get a hot tech job in Hong Kong. So in this webinar, we're just trying to get straight to the point. As we just said, like offline, we've all been hearing about overviews and market trends, right? But you know, what do professionals have to say, and what hiring managers have to say? People at the front line that find you hot jobs. So yeah, so today we have Pâris, and Pâris works on placing data science roles. And Kevin specializes in the software engineering roles. So how do we get a hot job in tech? Which is the big question that we have.
Always the top questions.
Always the top question.
Always.
Well, this is it, right? We've been, you know, COVID has happened to us, and it's almost for Hong Kong, it's the rest of the world. Hong Kong especially, it's 1 year now. It's been 12 months. Mm-hmm. I think 12 months ago, you know, we were quite jittery. And then at the end of quarter one, rapidly, we adopted a lot of data-driven initiatives, especially from large companies, governments and corporations. And then in the second quarter, we see like the Hong Kong government pushing out a lot of initiatives, right, to self-learn or to adopt more data. And very, very rapidly, you see a lot of companies now, and their mandate is for 2021 is to be data-driven. Everything needs to be data-driven. All decisions need to be data-driven, right? Including, you know, how we engage with clients as well. Mm-hmm. You know, writing out customer journeys and things like that. But in terms of talent that's needed for this really, really ambitious rollout, Kevin, why don't you share something about what it's like now to, you know, for hiring companies looking for software engineers?
I would say technology is a quite very important industry. Across different industries, they're looking for IT talent, no matter it's financial service or commercial industry. All of the company right now is looking for IT talents. For junior candidate, I would say startup company and fintech, they're very open-minded. Junior junior candidate, yeah, especially for the skill set like Python, Java, the hot common language. That's really looking for a candidate, and they're willing to pay.
They're willing
to pay. Yeah.
Okay. So working in a startup, mm-hmm. What kind of? Because working for a startup and working for a large financial mm-hmm. Institution, mm-hmm. they're looking for different type of people, right?
Yeah.
So in a startup, what type of people do these hiring managers look for, apart from their tech skill? Mm-hmm.
I would say for a startup, they're more looking for people more open-minded, more creative. Innovations is what kind of the people they're looking for. Communication skills extremely important for startup. They have to listen about your opinion, not only the boss or the manager to say something and then you just do it. You have to state your opinion. You have to share what's your thought. For financial service, completely different. Financial service is more about regulations, mm-hmm. compliance. You have to stick to the rules. You can't skip some of the regulation. Otherwise, it's a huge problem. But in terms of technology-wise, I would say financial service, they're willing to invest money on latest technology. So if you're looking for some latest technology, of course, startup, they're willing to use some technology. But in terms of large-scale project and the latest technology, financial service would be a good choice for them. Yeah.
So a good place to start, financial services.
Yes.
Startups. How about other industries like retail?
Retail at this moment, to be honest, not really recommended. Or maybe a co-government company will be also another choice, because property as well. Besides financial service, I would see property is quite booming industry in Hong Kong right now. Yeah.
I think properties, they have huge data sets.
Yes.
I think, you know, if you ever invested or look for a place to stay in Hong Kong, there's always like, is it Centerline? Mm-hmm. Where you, or Midlands, where you go and look at like what the transaction histories are. Mm-hmm. I think they've gathered, you know, a huge data set, and I think that's kind of underutilized, right? Mm-hmm. So as a data scientist or data analyst, that would be, so I can see why properties is, you know, they're hiring software, they're hiring data. And how about you, Pâris?
So yeah, first of all, thank you for having us, Thomas. Thank you, Accelerate. I think Kevin was right when he said that startup and financial services will be the companies who will hire the most tech people, but obviously data is a subcategory of tech. How to approach those companies, so very concrete, because I know we have to be very concrete. There is two ways to get a job for these type of companies. So first is obviously to trust the recruiters, because the recruiters and the market, they know. So when you look at a flat, yeah, you can just randomly search for a flat, or you can ask for the agents, you can ask for the experts. So recruiters have the knowledge. Second option is also to be very proactive yourself, as in you want a job, you're in the market, don't wait that you see any advertisement on, I don't know, on LinkedIn, on JobsDB, start to create your own network. So yeah, that's my practical advice. But yeah, as both of you said, more and more companies are engaging their team with data-driven decision. So data will become bigger and bigger in the next 2 or 3 years in Hong Kong.
So is that something that you see in candidates when they see that there's a lot of openings, there's a lot of opportunity in data, and you know, people who already have the tech skills, they kind of hold out, right? They kind of wait and they're being a bit picky. Is that what you're seeing right now?
I can see that for the obviously the bigger organizations, yes, they are more picky, because most of the time, at least in my space in data, they want the person to have this business knowledge, or to have, I don't know, could be retail, e-commerce, banking, insurance, finance, expense. When it's a smaller firm, could be a startup, could be just a small fintech, then they just want the person to get the project done. So they are less picky, and it's more about personality and how you manage to convince the founders and the hiring managers. So as Kevin said, communication skills, when you go to an interview, it's not, you have to convince, you have to put your life on the line.
Yeah, we were just talking about soft skills. So offline, we were talking about soft skills and where it's needed. And you brought up a really interesting thing. A lot of like people in tech, you know, we're not talking about the new generation, but we're talking about those who graduated probably 3 or 4 years ago. They had a particular personality. Would you like to, like, you know, repeat that again?
Yeah, of course.
Very quiet.
Because obviously I can see the difference, because I'm French myself, so I used to work in Europe, and obviously I know that the culture in Hong Kong is to get the things done very meticulously. So the things will be done, that's for sure. But when it comes to challenge, not necessarily the order, but the project, the directives from the management or from the hiring manager, from the technical manager, then sometimes there is a problem, because I guess tech, now that the companies could be tech or non-tech companies, we are looking for people who help them to create and not just execute. So if you go to small companies, you're not just here to program or to create a model. You're here to understand the ultimate problem and to help them to solve. So these problem-solving skills is crucial.
Yeah, so, we're talking about that, and the absence of soft skills is very debilitating for those with like tech skills and finding a job in Hong Kong. Like Pâris just mentioned before, that you're actually looking overseas right now.
Yeah.
You're placing candidates that are overseas from which countries?
Could be from it could be from Europe, US, or from any other countries in Asia. So it could be from mainland, from GBA mainland. It could be from Singapore, Malaysia. It could be from Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. Because some of those people, you think they might be like more shy, especially in the Southeast Asia type of country, but sometimes they want the job.
Yeah. So like you were telling me that you like hiring from Australia and Europe, and they're technical. They're technical, but it's more important that why you're hiring from like Australia, why you're hiring from Europe is because their personality, they're more outgoing, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing that we need, our local Hong Kong talent to learn about, to develop more on their communication skills, collaboration, and leadership, right? I still see quite a lot of CIOs and CTOs, and some of them are expatriates that haven't coded for like 20 or 30 years, but because of their their problem-solving skills, because of their communication and their leadership, they're able to sit in those positions. Yeah. So that's something that we need to look at and develop as we go along. But that's also why we have recruiters, right? Where you can help bridge, as you were saying, you help bridging the candidate and matching the company, right? So to bring the candidates, with their lacking in communication, and they're lacking in presenting themselves or selling themselves, you're here to do that as well. Yeah. And also to tap into what the industry says, the hidden job market in tech, right? So there are roles out there that we see on JobsDB, CT Jobs, and LinkedIn, but in terms of the hidden jobs, that's going to come in. That'll be coming from experts like yourself who are at the forefront when you're talking to CIOs, right? And they're developing a task force. You guys are the first to hear about it, and you guys are able to place those people quicker than advertising on job market, going through the whole process, right? So this is great to have Argyll Scott here at Accelerate with us as well. So just a quick background on events like this. Normally we do these events exclusively for our internal students, right? So these hot jobs that we get, we present them to our Accelerate alumni first, but since the market is really hot right now, and jobs are really, a lot of companies are hiring right now, we thought we'd kind of share it to the public, and also let everybody else who aren't Accelerate alumni have a taste of the benefits of joining us, and so there's that. So what type of, we touched on what type of companies are hiring for junior staff. How more senior roles, those who have, say, 3 or 4 years working experience?
Okay, I will go first. When it comes to more senior candidates, or as you said, mid-experience to senior candidates, in my space, most of the sectors are hiring. So as Kevin said, yes, conglomerates properties are very hard because those companies are traditional and they are turning into a phase where they trigger this digital transformation. But when you have more experience, you know what you're talking about. So you're not here to create, you're definitely here to deliver. So it could be logistic, supply chain, bank, insurance, property, hospitality, any kind of sectors are hiring for data people.
So that question will be, who's paying the most?
Oh, I can answer to that. So
great.
Yeah, I can answer straight away. So if you want just a job with money,
Yeah.
but sometimes you have to balance between money and obviously other things. But if you are only look at money, it's obviously financial services.
Financial services.
When you are a middle juniors, middle expense, or a bit senior candidate, financial services will always pay more in Hong Kong.
Because we looked at some of the, we're looking at some of the salary guides that are out there, and like very junior from, fresh graduates of like academies like from ourselves, they're expecting junior data scientist roles to be around 25 to 28,000 Hong Kong dollars. But 7 years down the line, their salary increases up to 70K to 125K, and that's just for a data scientist, right? Yeah. We haven't even touched on the quants guys, the quantitative analysts, and these guys are working with traders directly, and they're problem solvers. And these guys are, they're not even a C-suite, but they're commanding salaries of about $2 million.
It is true.
And is that where, this is why you're looking at our financial sector as being the guys who pay the most?
Yeah, true. I would say beside financial services, another area will be a consulting area.
Yeah, consulting, very true.
Vendor software solutions house, because like as long as the client pays them the money, they can pay the employee for a huge increment for them. Yeah, as long as like they're looking for a data scientist from a consulting firm, second to that particular company. So actually they charge the kind of lot that they're willing to pay the candidate as well for looking at specific talent, like architect, data scientist, data architect as well. So they're willing to pay as well in terms of consulting firm or like software solutions house. Yeah.
And I will even add to that consulting is often an area, at least in data, that the people tend to avoid because they said, oh yeah, consulting, I will only do that. I will only, I don't know, meaning client, it won't be technical enough or whatever. But for me, in my perspective, your first job might be something like this, because in consulting, you know how to talk to clients, you know how to talk, client facing a lot. You know how to adapt, you know how to use different technologies, you work in different sectors, and you will know how to work hard. And obviously you will also start to build a connection and a network, and you will obviously have a very decent salary rise when you start. So consulting might be, if you're a junior data scientist, data engineer or whatever, something that you will look at the very beginning for sure.
Okay, very interesting. I think like looking at Accelerate's past two cohorts, our student alumni are from many various industries. We have those from airline, we have those from hospitality. Those are very kind of, very good at communications, right? Hospitality, they're great at client services and front line. So hopefully we can start to see Hong Kong bridge that gap between, the guys who were like super maths and quantitative techniques, who are the personalities somewhat were more quieter, more introverted, right? But as we see more and more people coming from different industries or different kind of backgrounds taking up tech, hopefully that we can bridge that problem, and companies won't have to start hiring from overseas, which is, Hong Kong is coming out of that. I mean, I think 5 or 6 years ago, a lot of data teams were outsourced. Kuala Lumpur, India. Do you see that changing? Are they hiring more local talent right now, Pâris?
Yes, because as we have all said during the meeting, you need to talk to the business. So if the data team is kind of far away, could be, I don't know, in any other country, could be, I don't know, India or Indonesia or Vietnam or whatever, the hiring manager will struggle to convince the business about a project. The hiring manager will just be there to execute. But when it comes to start to think about how to manage the problem, the ultimate problem that you're supposed to solve with data, it will struggle too much. So some companies are keeping very closely their data team, go close to the business on APAC project most of the time.
Okay. So, we talked about the soft skills that people need. That's a big, very important one. And also what type of companies, like startups, consulting as a career path, to start off as a junior and then try to work your way in, or a good candidate will go straight into fintech where the high paying jobs are. I mean, I think a lot of people, yes, they love tech. Everybody was curious about machine learning and AI and data science, but there are jobs out there that are really quite rewarding and pay quite handsomely for something that you're going to enjoy doing yourself. Okay, so we covered that. So next we're going to step on to, we're going to get to interviews, and we're going to get to hiring managers. So what are the things that hiring managers are asking from you? What kind of candidates are they asking? What?
To start first.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Technical skill will be #1 questions.
Technicals.
Yeah, technical skills are #1 questions.
And you said something about Python,
Java, Node.js, JavaScript, microservice, those kinds of architecture design, cloud exposure, those kind of technical skill. Besides on technical skill, soft skills is very, very important for every single boss looking for candidate. Not just only technical skill, because technical skills, if they're just looking for coding machine or coding people, they can just outsource the project to the vendor. The thing is that they want someone to join the company to sort out the solution, find out solutions, to sort out the problem from the business. So communication skill, leadership skills, potentially they can grow people or grow talent to become a senior. This is some kind of the soft skills they're looking for, or some kind of the past experience, or what is your most difficult time for your whole life. This kind of the questions. More I can see from a hiring manager and HR, they're asking for the candidate during an interview's time.
Okay. So what should our candidates do to present themselves? Would presenting, because we have capstone projects, right? We have capstone projects that our students work on. We have live projects, and also that we have hypothetical projects. So presentation skills on those is quite important, right? Learn how to present those. Any tips?
Normally, I would say in terms of asking about any past experience or project experience sharing, I would say be specific. How about the scope, team size, the ultimate goal with reporting line, and how many mandates involving in the whole project. More and more information you provide to the interviewer, more and more chance you got the job. Because the reason behind is they're not just looking for people who got your job done, but also about the whole process.
Okay.
How you see about the whole project, and then you see all the ultimate goal from the business. Why I'm doing this project? Why I established this application? What is the benefit for the whole company? You have to understand the whole business about the domain knowledge.
Okay. So domain knowledge, and they will demonstrate problem solving skills, demonstrate how they can present a project. So during the interview, that will be really beneficial.
Yes.
Is exactly what hiring managers are looking for.
So if I can add something to this. So as I said, you have to understand the full picture and not just your own project, capstone project, or any other project. It's to understand the business. So my main advice would be, before you go to an interview, first you need to know yourself inside out in terms of the project that you have run so far, but you need also to have those pitching skills. So let's say you're a student from Accelerate, you need to be able to convince an audience about the credibility of your project, why your project that you are working on could be directly on the market, why it could gain money or cut costs for a company. if it doesn't cut costs or if it's not problem solving, you won't be able to convince anyone, any hiring manager. So HR, you can convince them because they have less technical knowledge, but hiring manager, you won't be able to convince them.
So ROI, return on investment.
Exactly.
Why am I hiring you? What you're bringing to the table, right? So that needs to be demonstrated, right? So it's not just like hard technical skills, right? I'm so proficient in Python or JavaScript, and it's more about their ROI, what they can bring, because a lot of people can learn Python. I mean, Python's been around for 15 years, 20 years, but it's more kind of adopted now and more becoming more mainstream, and more corporations are using it. But it's not just about that, right?
It's about business sense more than technical skills.
Business sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What if someone has absolutely really introverted and they're not outgoing? What kind of positions would they be looking at? What kind of jobs do you think they could land? Would there be anything like that more?
There is. Do you have some further key technical role, like 96 extremely hands-on, all the way facing computer? Yeah, coding area will be.
I think like quantitative analysts. These guys, there's a group of those who really don't meet with the stakeholders. They don't have to go out too much, and for a more quiet, introverted person, is that correct? You seem like to disagree.
In the end, to be honest with you, most of my quant friends, yes, they are very technical, but depending on obviously of the structure, you also sit within the trading floor, and with the trading floor, you need to provide the right strategy, the quant strategy, the solutions to this floor. So you might not be business facing directly, but you are internal business facing, as in your stakeholders will be those trading floors, and you need to give them the solution. And trust me, they will give you some pressure. So if you don't have the ability to take the pressure in, the job is not for you.
That's true. I think one of the things about quants guys is that they need to provide a solution and problem solve very quickly. It's not like you're given 2 months or 3 months to work on a specific model for deployment, right?
Exactly.
It's quite a high pressure job.
It is. So that's the situation. So I guess if you're a bit more introvert, infrastructure type of role where you are more machine facing rather than human facing could be a better job. So in data is data engineering. In this case, could be cloud engineering. Cloud engineering is very, very, very hard this year, but you don't face that many humans. You try to security as well is also one of these jobs where you have to, if you let people introvert.
So we touched on like soft skills and communication skills. I had a question. I was consulting someone a few weeks ago, and he is from Europe, and one of his problems was he couldn't speak Cantonese, couldn't do the Mandarin. Is that kind of, we see a lot of jobs now requiring you to speak, be proficient in Chinese and a local language or even Mandarin. Has that started to creep over into the tech industries yet, where they're having these requirements?
I would say Mandarin and Canton, yes, a bit, but still for English, it's more about the presentation skill, not about the language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, in terms of English, if you're very fluent or good presentation skill in English, should be enough, more than enough. Yeah, there are plenty of jobs looking for just only English speaking people, even in Paris.
But we do believe that, yes, on the JD, when you see a JD on any job boards, you have this size of requirements. So most of the clients, they want the unicorn, like the very specific things. However, when you talk to the hiring manager and you convince them, then yes, they realize that why I need these skills in the end. So if you work in a very, very local firm, if you're targeting those firms, then yes, you need to speak Canton. If you have a APAC, I don't know, in retail APAC role, when you need to do business with GBA, then yes, you need to speak Mandarin. But aside from that, if you are, I don't know, in a fintech, in a startup, no need for Canto.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No.
As I said, it's more important to have a good English to be able to express himself in Canto English rather than just speaking Putonghua or Canto.
So like career switching from somewhere like hospitality or the aviation industry or client facing, like, you know, we had some like account managers who, you know, from Europe, and they couldn't speak the language and they wanted to go back into account management, but all the new jobs right now require you to speak Cantonese and Mandarin. I think good advice would be to like go on to learn a tech skill and really do a career switch where your language doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah,
you know.
But it also, it matters, but it's also important that what I said earlier, if you just wait that the JD comes from anything and you apply, then yes, the HR will see on your profile that you are Guaylo, that you don't speak Canto, that you don't speak Mandarin. Then yes, she might not call you. But if you talk directly to the right person, could be through your network, or you try to engage directly with recruiters with the HR, or by yourself with a small company that you have been aware of, this is where you can convince.
Okay, all right, thanks a lot for that sharing. So one of the main things that we wanted to ask you guys was what kind of roles are out there now? What kind of roles that you need filling right now? Kevin, would you like to start? What kind of roles that you have right now?
Yeah, on hands, currently I do looking for a Java programmer for insurance company. They're looking for staff from 2 years to 6 years. Yeah, they're not looking for particular for financial service. They're open for commercial industry as well. Another one will be a fintech company, a startup. They're looking for a DevOps engineer.
A DevOps engineer.
Yeah, setting up the DevOps platform. They're looking for like 4 to 6 years
experience.
Yeah, 4 to 6 years
of DevOps
and cloud engineering experience. Either one. So not a must for experienced DevOps guy, but open for cloud engineers.
Okay, so about 4 or 5 years.
4 to 6 years.
4 to 6 years.
Yeah.
What's the salary range on that? What do you think
It's about 60 months. It's really not bad.
No, really not bad for, you know, 4 to 6 years experience.
Just like if you fresh graduate, join the technology field, it's just about 26, 28 years old.
So even before, 26, 28 years old, and you're already around 60K. Okay,
yeah,
that's a lot for that. That's a good one. Okay, and how about the JavaScript Programmer, the first one that you mentioned?
Java Programmer. It's about start from 30K.
About 30K, so a little bit junior.
To 40K.
30 to 40. What kind of company was that?
The insurance firm.
Which one? Insurance. InsurTech?
Yeah, insurance tech. They're doing the transformation program, and also newly they have an IFRS program, IFRS 17. Yeah. So a lot of program there.
Which one is that?
IFRS 17.
Yeah.
IFRS. IFRS 17.
Okay.
So it's a regulation.
It's a new compliance and regulation.
Exactly, new compliance regulation.
Every insurance company have to fulfill it.
The new compliance regulation that's just coming through right now.
Every single insurance company have to fulfill it within 3 years. So that's we're looking for a programmer to fix it and compliance for those regulations.
Okay.
So yeah, if you have to remember something today about insurance, is this IFRS 17 world, because most of the consulting firm and most of the insurance companies, when they talk about digital transformation these days, we're talking about this regulation.
Yeah. This new regulation. Oh, okay. So definitely something that we're going to have a look at and share, right? And share. Okay. What else is out there?
For more senior, I will have another solution architect.
You got a solution architect.
Yeah, for a conglomerate company. Yeah, they're looking for people who are strong in smart IoT, that kind of emerging technology knowledge to apply to the business. Yeah, because nowadays they have so many competitions in their specific industry. The thing is they have someone to think of the boss, new initiative and new innovation thing brings into the company. So they're looking for that tough people, not exactly a tough programming guy.
Yeah, it's not so tech, right?
Yeah, it's about the innovations initiative guy.
Yeah. Okay. So understanding the domain, understanding IoT,
yeah,
and then bringing in innovation to the company. Is that a senior role then?
Yeah, senior role is a solution architect. It's about $1 million.
$1 million a year.
$1 million a year.
How much experience do you need to have to start a solution architect?
8 years experience.
About 8 years experience.
Yeah, okay. They're open for different industry, as long as the guy for open-minded, innovative, and mentions new technology, emerging tech. Yeah.
So it's a good trend that we actually see that when we see jobs that are offering like $1 million salaries, then when we see those, their JDs would say, oh, 15 years experience.
Yeah.
But for tech industry, everything is halved, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at, around 50 to 60K for a DevOps engineer, for other industries, when you want that kind of salary grade, then yeah, about 10 years, 8 to 10 years, right? But now we're just looking for people who only have 4 to 5 years experience in this. Okay. Anything on the data side?
Of course.
Of course. It's got a whole book. Do we have enough time?
So yeah, I have obviously a couple of roles on hands. For the junior ones, I'm looking for 2 data scientists between 1 year, 1.5 up to 3 years. One for a conglomerate, so it's actually we share the client. So for the same conglomerate, but yeah, as we said, most of the conglomerate we are definitely expanding in tech and data. The other one is for a retail brand, luxury retail brand, APAC role, very, very technical, which is good. I'm also looking for another side of data science and machine learning, and it would be a trend this year. It's called machine learning ops. Machine learning ops is, for those who don't know, a mix between machine learning and DevOps. So it's all about how you deploy the models with heavy DevOps skills, so Kubernetes. I'm also looking for senior data engineer with data science skills, preferably with financial services experience for an insurance company. So when I say senior, it's above 6 years, and this role can be up to 1 million base without bonus. Also looking for PhD data scientists. But in the end, if you have very, very, very good NLP skills, the client can consider. It's for fintech company, but this role is also open with another company, a market data company. NLP this year will be even bigger. So if you have to focus on a part of the deep learning, focus on NLP. So computer vision is great, don't get me wrong, but NLP for financial services, it's over there. And obviously I can share for more senior profile. The last one is group head of analytics for a conglomerate. So it's for another conglomerate who's pushing for driving the whole data strategy on the whole group. So for all the different businesses. So we are looking at someone with more than 12, 15 years experience, and it can go more than 1.3, 1.4,
1.3,
1.6, 1.7. There is, when you read this kind of profile, I won't say there is no limits. However, most of the conglomerates are very picky right now. So they definitely want the right person.
Does that person exist in Hong Kong right now?
I have a candidate that I had to approach a base in Shenzhen.
So you have to go to Shenzhen?
In Shenzhen, yeah.
You have to go to GBA to find these candidates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, there is some candidates in Hong Kong who have been in the process. However, once again, this conglomerate, what he wanted was someone with the ability to engage the C-suite from different businesses, and not just, I don't know, we go on the delivery. It's something we can guide the senior stakeholders on their data strategy.
Okay.
super interesting role.
So in the junior roles that you mentioned, what do we expect around? I mean, I know that there's for many reasons that Pâris can't really tell you the exact number. It also depends on different people, right? You might not have so much experience, but you might be very technical, or that you're great at communicating and presenting yourself and demonstrating your collaboration, communication, and problem-solving skills, but could land you these jobs, and they can reconsider, okay, maybe we don't need someone overly experienced or 4 or 5 years putting that number on, but if you can demonstrate good communication skills and problem-solving skills, I think it's easy to get those roles. But in terms of junior roles, what are the expectations, what are the salary expectations for those?
For junior roles, when you have less than 1.5 years experience, don't expect more than 30. When you start to have 1.5, 2 years, then you can go up to, could be between 30, 35, obviously, once again, depending on the industry. At the very beginning, my advice would be, don't get into the salary. Yes, there is a trend coming up, but if you are working in data, and if you want the salary, go data engineering. Don't necessarily go data science, because data engineering, there is less people who has these skills, and it's more in demand. So the salaries go quite high. So same with machine learning ops.
Things that are hands-on, right? So like data analyst, then you move on to become a data engineer and then a data scientist. I think right now, because a lot of companies, I mean, COVID has presented some unfortunate opportunities, and it has accelerated Hong Kong's digital demand and growth for like 7 years, 10 years. So when Pâris talks about needing data engineers, we need people who are more hands-on, right, and get cracking on that, right?
Exactly, and I will even add, he said a lot of things, Kevin said a lot of things about cloud DevOps. Today for data profile, it's not about doing fancy modeling, so it's to have skills from his side, so cloud skills, API software skills, DevOps skills. So it's not just about all the modeling, it's how about you capture the data and how you deploy the data on different structure.
Yeah, I agree. And I have another thing to add on, especially for some people who come from aviations or hospitality, they change the industry. Don't afraid the first job in the first low salary, like 18K, 16K, no worry about it. Because in just mentioned 6 years, you become 60K if you qualify for the technical skill or the soft skills. Technology market is a very interesting market. Not really kind of about your exactly working years. It's about skills, both soft skills and technical skills. So as long as you invest your time and then you put your effort on it, after 5-6 years, you can earn a lot from technology industry.
Well, one of the main things is, apart from that first struggle, what you're building is you're future-proofing your careers. I mean, I think data science and data engineers throughout these years, it's only gone an upward trajectory, despite what economic or political or even, our current pandemic hasn't really rocked that boat too much, right? In fact, it's actually increased the demand. So you're in essence kind of future-proofing yourself. So there's quite a lot of benefits where, you're not being too niche. There's a lot of places that you can go to. You can really use the skill. It's so transferable right now. And then salary in terms of getting up onto that, because you're not climbing a corporate ladder once you have these skills, right? You're creating your own ladder that you climb up, right? And you can see that salary increases. We're looking at data. We're looking at some of the things that we've seen, like career guides and salary guides right now. 7 years plus, you're earning, $120,000 a year. I mean, $120,000 a month. So where you are, so 120, maybe US are like, looking at 6 figures very, very, very quickly. So Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot for the sharing.
Thanks,
Looking forward to, so after this event, we'll be sitting down, Thomas De Lorenzo, that you know as a student consultant, we'll be sitting down with Kevin and with Pâris in discussing what kind of roles that are out there right now, actually presenting the roles to our students and try to get those filled. But let's pass on to, so Rachel Chen is right behind the camera right now. So Rachel, any questions?
Yes, I'm sure our participants have learned a lot from three gentlemen. That's why we have few questions from the audiences. So first question is from Erica. What are the best companies where we can have an internship of junior contract as UX designer, UI UX designer as a foreigner?
Oh, okay, so what are the best country? What are the best? So UX UI, is that part of? Would you have any knowledge of that sector? What are the best companies right now to work for in terms of UX UI?
I would say for UX UI, I highly recommend to join some solution house or digital house. Yeah, because the reason behind is like they are not working on particular only one company or one project. They're going to the project base. As soon as the project finish, you go to another new company and work on a new project. And then in terms of exposure, you got more compared in-house.
So like more consultation.
Yeah.
Consultants, right? So you work on various projects and really build up your portfolio.
Yeah.
So that's a good direction to go. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, Kevin.
All right, second question. How can one apply data science skill when doing consulting job? It's interesting to hear consulting job is good for people in tech field.
How do you apply your data science skills in consulting? It's a good question, but in the end, data science within a consulting firm, it's just because like it's the same as being in-house, except that you move on project from project. So you will do exactly the same. You will collect the data, you will connect to the data. Where it will be different is because you're not in-house, you will have a different access to the data. And this is where your skills about connecting with the business will be even more important, because if you don't convince the clients to get you the access to the data, then you cannot work on this. But yeah, aside from that, it's strictly the same.
The third question, how competitive is it for a person if they require a visa sponsorship via someone that doesn't in a junior role?
So visa sponsorship.
Oh, right. Very good question. You want to answer that?
You may go first.
Yeah, I can go first. So for juniors, to be honest with you, unless you have a very, very specific skill set, it might be challenging. I don't want to lie. Candidates from overseas, most of the time, more senior candidates. So if you are, I don't know, a 1 year or even less, if it's, I don't know, pure data science skills, the companies will first look at the local market. However, I've seen some roles like data engineering where you can get a job.
I can add something on it. Normally for free sponsorship is for only senior people, but it's also looking for some people with very niche skills. Say for example, the candidate who have some certificate like Salesforce or product owner, those kind of very niche certificate, if they own it, yes, potentially the company will sponsor for it. Yeah.
But a lot of companies now are trying to hold back on, generous expat packages, right? So we're really trying to push for Hong Kong to, upskill themselves, finding local talent, and we see a lot of the government putting a lot of initiative in pushing local talent in that. But where there are required, because we see like in the US, Silicon Valley, in the US and some UK also, that they're all really quite mature in terms of their data scientists, right? DevOps and things. So they have quite a mature pool of talent. whereas Hong Kong is still relatively new, right? Which means it's a good time to get into, but unless you really have a niche skill, then companies would start offering like nice expat packages.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So besides of engineer, data analysis is kind of professional. What positions in tech companies are looking for? If I'm a person with media and communications background, how can I utilize my knowledge to get a foot in the door on tech or fintech company?
So media
and communication.
Media and communications. Are media and communications, are there job openings? Are they looking for data analysts?
Some.
You have some, but not a lot.
I have, not a lot. I will be honest, not a lot. However, I do believe that if you're coming from communication and media, first, you have a very good business knowledge. Yes, there is not that many companies where you can get into, but if you get yourself proficient enough into Python and data analysis, you can go pretty much in outside of financial services type of company, because they won't necessarily do the difference, because if you come from retail, hospitality or whatever, so for them you are outside financial services. So if you know how to do dashboard data visualization, you know how to script in Python, then you can get a job. But yes, you definitely need to be more technical.
So in terms of like media and communications, there's not a huge demand for data analysts right now.
No, not really. No.
I mean, we actually spoke offline. I mean, I really think we can be quite straight, because we talked about what industries are really hot and looking for, like data scientists, data engineers, and data analysts. But we also talked about offline was what companies or what industries that we kind of need to start avoiding. And we spoke like, okay, maybe like in terms of hospitality, they are not, their budgets for hiring data analysts and data scientists is not as great as like the consulting firms or the fintech firms and the startups, right?
Yeah, my point of view is the two traditional industries in Hong Kong, obviously outside of banking, because it's very traditional, outside of banking, won't invest that much into digital transformation. So his roles and my roles, so it could be tech, could be data, could be anything, because they don't necessarily see the value of transforming the whole process. They will still keep working the same old way, whereas could be retail, could be financial services, could be fintech. They want to innovate. And when you think about those companies, yes, they definitely want to innovate. I have my new application, my new virtual banks, so that's innovation. So this is where those sectors are more innovative. So we will need to attract more tech people.
Very interesting. Oh, okay.
All right. The question is, both of us in Accelerate may not have prior experience in data analyst field. Should we stay on the entry-level positions or more experience opening as well?
Yeah, well, Kevin already answered this as well. Do you mind repeating? So as a fresh graduate of Accelerate in data science, right? So as a fresh graduate, so I've just come out, how long, or should I be taking up that junior role straight away? Because you said that, like, don't be afraid to go in.
Try it, because like technology industry is different. Like financial accountants, you have to build your passive, like let's say 10-year experience. In tech, not necessary. It's like 10 years or 15 years, as long as you got the skill. So I would say, keep training, keep up yourself in technical skill and also soft skills. Yeah, it's possible, very possible.
So take the job.
Yeah, so take the job.
Yeah. Try it.
I think that's, I mean, we can see that like companies are actually responding by cutting down the amount of time or amount of experience needed to get to middle management. We're looking at 3 to 4 years, and in 7 years, within 7 years or around 7 years time, you pretty much doubled your salary. With sticking to one firm, the tradition is that a lot of people jump from firm to firm to get a quickest pay rise as possible. But is that a trend in in data and in software? Should candidates quickly jump to another company and ask more, to get a higher salary package?
That's a very interesting question.
Very interesting.
Very interesting question. The reason behind is like I study in the hospitality industry,
Okay.
and then after my graduate, I work in a hotel. Normally for the hotel people, they change job like at least 3 years, 5 years, change once. Then when I get into the recruitment industry, I realized that, wow, technology people every single year they change the job.
Wow.
And then they're asking 15%, 20%, 30% increment. I was like, really? Yes, but possible. Can't really pay as long as you got the skills. I'm not here to say, yeah, you have to change job every single year. The thing is like in this industry, yes, even though you're looking out in the first short period of time, yes, you can ask for the pay rise if you got the skills, which kind of looking for.
And build that experience first. So this is why, don't be afraid to take a slightly lower than expected salary, because, the rise is quite meteoric. How long is that going to last, Kevin? How long is it going to last, Pâris, that there's like really meteoric rise? How long is that going to last? There's some urgency, I expect, that, as we get more talent entering the market, that
I can answer to that. So in my perspective, if you take the global situation in Hong Kong, so if you compare Hong Kong with I don't know, US, you said that US had a very mature talent pool, Europe, Australia, or other places. Hong Kong is obviously behind. So you can see that the digital transformation type of project will, at the very least, in my perspective, and I don't know if you agree, last for 10 years. We don't know about 10 years, but for 10 years, the companies will keep modernizing themselves. So for sure, for 10 years, it will go up to, I will try to add something to your answer. So yes, in tech, if you change every year and a half, you can get the increment, as long as you have the right skill sets. Could be DevOps, could be cloud, could be software engineering, because it's intention. However, in data, and I want to balance it, because it's all about getting the business knowledge. If you are too jumpy, some more traditional companies might be slightly afraid.
Okay, thank you.
All right, another question. What about the blockchain sector? Is it a trend in Hong Kong as well?
Which sector?
Blockchain.
Blockchain.
Yes, definitely. Blockchain is one of the booming sector in technology field. But still, blockchain is also based on a programming language and data skill set. That yes, definitely is for domain knowledge in terms of blockchain. Yeah, highly recommend candidate if interested for blockchain technology can try this type of the company and then build your domain industry knowledge on particular blockchain sector. It's very valuable in the market right now.
So blockchain, which sector is quite important as well? Choosing the right sector.
Yes, blockchain, fintech, cryptocurrency area is very hot in the market right now.
Crypto,
yes.
Would that be right up at the top in terms of demand for talent?
I would say they keep expanding, and then more and more the banking, even the retail bank, they also are looking for similar type of the people. So in terms of the skill set, it's very transferable. So yeah, blockchain is one of the booming sector right now in the technology field.
In terms of salary grade, what do you think? Is that do they compensate well?
Very well.
Because it's very new. It's very new, and not that many people have the skill set, as you said.
In Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting.
Right, I know the time is running short, but we have the last question. Okay, what can one do in data analytics if one wants to be an entrepreneur as opposed to landing a good job? I have owned my own business since the past 20 years and would like to continue down the path instead of working. Sorry, the question is really long. Okay, instead of working for another company.
Self-employed, 20 years.
20 years. So the question is, should I force myself to get into a job, or can I stay an entrepreneur?
he wants to stay as entrepreneur,
Okay.
but wants to see how data analytics, if one wants to be entrepreneur, how the skills will apply as an entrepreneur.
Depends on, well, obviously what kind of job he has as an entrepreneur. So obviously data analytics skills, as you said, Thomas, at the very beginning, most of the senior stakeholders need data to take decisions these days. So that's why data analysis is obviously booming. If you are an entrepreneur, you have a network of clients, you have clients, and to convince the clients, I'm assuming that you have a product. If you have this product, data analytics will help you to structure and prove by the numbers why maybe your solution is better, or why your client should do this or do this. So data analytics is a mindset. Yes, it's a tool, but it's also my mindset, a way of thinking, oh, we need to look at the numbers and not just, I don't know, some pitch or whatever. So data analytics could definitely be an asset.
So basically, they're correct. And, using data to drive decisions. And that's very important, right?
Mm-hmm.
To drive the decision-making processes, and having a company data-driven would be better for in terms of business sense, right? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pâris, very much, Kevin. We will be sharing the contact of Pâris and Kevin with those who signed up on Eventbrite as well, and even to our students, and hopefully we can keep in touch. So thank you very much, and thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.